Welcome to Cooking with Andrea. Today I'm excited, but like I always say, I'm always excited. Today we are going to be making a stuffed bell peppers. These beautiful bell peppers I got out of my garden, so I'm super excited. I don't want anything to go to waste. So we're going to go ahead and get started, but we'll be back in just a minute and actually start the cooking. Welcome back. Okay, I just wanted to get a few things in order before we started. Like I just said, these are our beautiful bell peppers. I had washed them all, but I wanted to keep one and just show you how I cut it. Because when I first started making bell peppers, I wasn't sure. A couple times I cut them too short and I took too much of it off. Not a good thing. So I'm just going to go ahead. Was taking the last of the water off the bell pepper. Even though I didn't cut this one, I already washed it and so forth. I'm going to put just a little bit of oil in, not much. That's probably just about a half a teaspoon. I'm just going to go all the way around my dish. And then I went ahead and I'm going to put my cheese back in the refrigerator, but I went ahead and grated about a cup and a fourth of Monterey Jack cheese. I want to keep it in the refrigerator because I want it to be nice and cold when I go to put it on. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the fridge, but I shredded it up. We are ready to go. What we're going to do is I have my oven heating on 350. It's been that way for about 20 minutes. These ones that are already cut and cleaned, I'm just going to set in here like this. And like I said, so blessed. These came from our garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right over here. And I'm going to show you how I just took these off. Oh, so these little rings here, I'm going to make some dirty rice. I'll use those. So I'll put those in a little baggie and we'll be good to go. So I just barely take the tops off. And then what I'm going to do is I don't want to mess up my garlic, so I'm going to cover it. I take a spoon so I don't damage the bell pepper. And, when you grow your own, they're not the same size like the store. You walk into the store and you get a package, and they kind of make it easy. They make them all the same size for you. Mine are different sizes, but guess what? They are homegrown, and I feel so blessed that we have vegetables that I can feed my family. I have enough. I can grow enough vegetables if everything goes good, the weather and stuff. We don't get snow or crazy weather. I can grow vegetables for a period of time, and they're all fresh out of our garden. So that makes me really happy. Okay, I'm just going to give this one a little rinse inside. We went ahead and got all the seeds out. And I'm just going to pat this one dry. And like I said, I already have done the other ones. And then what I want to do is I want to get these in the oven. Put them down. And we're going to get them in the oven for about 20-25 minutes. Get them soft, nice and soft. Not too soft though. I do not like my vegetable, especially my bell pepper, way too soft. I do not like that. There has to be something that has a texture, because the ground pork or the ground sausage, mild Italian, and the hamburger we're going to be using, that is all nice and soft. The rice we're going to be using is all nice and soft. So we are good. I want a little bit of crunch to that bell pepper. If you do not want the crunch in the bell pepper, that's fine. Just go ahead and cook them a little bit more, but I'm going to cook them for 20 minutes, which I'm going to put my timer on. Start. And then I'm going to go ahead and cook them for another 20-30 minutes while they're in warming up everything else. But because everything else is cooked, that's why I pre-cooked them, because they will not have to stay in too long. So this is 5 cloves of garlic this size. Just wanted to let you know we're going to put that in my nice sausage hamburger mix. You know me, I like my garlic cut pretty darn good. Tuck fingers though when you're cutting garlic. We do not want to cut fingers. That's why because I like mine cut so much or so fine. I always do mine ahead of time, because otherwise you'll be here forever with me cutting garlic. But I have to have my garlic chopped really well. I do not want to get an offensive piece of garlic. I think everything tastes good when it's cut the right way. I am not going to add onion, fresh onion, or shallot. I am going to do onion powder because I'm going to fry it into my meat, which is good. And you guys know me, I don't really like the whole crunch of an onion, so I usually puree mine. But the only problem when you puree your onion is you get a little bit more liquid because the good juices of the onion come out. So, you know, that's one thing I like when I make stews, roux, things like that. Man, I puree my onions and oh my gosh, I can taste that onion flavor and it's beautiful. So for me, it's not that I don't like onion. For me, it's a texture issue. So that is 5 nice cloves of garlic. You don't have to use that much if you don't want to. Bring it down to 2. If you do not like garlic, or if you do not have garlic on hand like this, because sometimes people feel about garlic like I do about onions. They like it, but they just don't like the texture of what they get when they cut it with their knife. Use garlic powder. This is onion powder, but use your garlic powder. Okay, so I'm going to put my stuff to the side right here. I'm going to give these one more wash, and then I'm going to throw them in a baggie because I'm going to use them this week. We'll probably have a pepper steak or something like that this week. Or a stir fry, because I'm always making stir fry and pepper steak. Boy, I have a pepper steak on my channel already. It is delicioso. You got to try that one. And boy, it sure is fast. So when you need a fast meal when you come home, you'll have it. Okay, I'm going to make some white rice. I have about a tablespoon of oil. It's canola oil. Today, or when you see my bottle, I don't take it off because of brand, but I buy a big thing of oil. And I always have it for my fryers and stuff like that. So when you see that bottle, that's canola oil. Otherwise, you'll see my olive oil. I do a lot of cooking with meat, fat itself, and with butter. But so today, we're going to go ahead and do a white rice for my stuffed bell pepper. We're going to use 2 cups of rice, your preference. This is my go-to. I love this rice. When I make white rice, I use my this one, my jasmine, and it's my dragonfly. I buy it in big bulk because I make a lot of rice. So I make mine in big bulk. And so what I do is I'm just going to toast my rice a little bit. That's how I make rice. So I'm just going to let this start toasting. I'm going to get my induction go in here. I'm going to get it on hot. We're going to do a hot pot. We're going to turn it down just a little bit. But I want it to start frying pretty hot. So that's my sausage. And I'm going to show you. I had already put it in the pan because I didn't want to mess my hands up. It's a mild New York. This is good stuff. You can use any one you want though, because when you have all these seasonings and flavor, it does not matter which one you use. This is my go-to. And then, so this is 1 pound. I'm going to take 1 pound of hamburger. Now, I usually go to Costco and buy my hamburger. So we have a vacuum seal little pack. So I always do 1 pound of increments. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this over here. That'll be my dirty plate. I'm going to give just a little wash. Didn't touch anything too gross. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, stir up my rice. I'm gonna use the same spoon for both. I want to fry my meat hot though, because if you do it that way, it'll crumble better. If it's not uniform, then I will take out my food processor and I will blend it to be uniform. Because sometimes sausage, you have to do that. Sausage doesn't crumble as easy as hamburger. And I want everything to get nice and crumbly. If I have any extra grease in here, I'll go ahead and take it and strain it. But what I'm trying to do is get my hamburger in here because I want to get everything, fill the pan as well as I can. I want to dump my garlic in there. And see, my garlic won't burn if I have all this nice cold meat and all these juices. I'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spoon it out on my fingers. And then what I'm going to do, smells good already. That garlic is goodness. Let me tell you, that garlic is goodness. Okay, so now that I stuck my fork or my spoon in my meat, I'm going to go to a fork here. I don't want to get my meat and my rice all messed up. Keep it as, normally I don't, cross-use things. Only if it's a rice to in here, because this is why I took it out, so I don't scratch my pan. My induction pans, they're quite pricey, so don't want to scratch them. These are induction pans too, but I can use these here as well. I can use all my pans on my regular stovetop and so forth. But this one I will not. This actually my husband bought me. Very good pan. I'm so blessed. He always spoils me with expensive pans, whereas I'm kind of the cheaper one out of the two of us. So I don't like to spend the money, but he's like, you're always in the kitchen cooking, you need good stuff. So I'm like, okay, thank you. And then this way, with these pans, I can use a fork and not scratch them. But this one, it will scratch if I use the fork. So I'm just going to let this cook. We're going to get this nice and brown. Okay, I have my, because it's white rice, it's not like my Mexican rice, I don't want to toast it too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my stock in there, and then we're just going to let it boil. So I have 4 cups of stock, and I'm just going to dump it in. And this is what I want. Okay, so the stock thing is, I like my own stock, or I use this stock because you see the fat content in it. It's like when you make your own stock. It's real good. Now I had to add a little bit of extra because these don't make 4. So I added a little bit so I could rotate my stock. I use a couple different kinds of stock. Depends on what I'm cooking for, because some things it's better to have a better stock than not, or maybe a better fat content than not, because when you make rice, especially white rice, the only flavor you get from the white rice is that actual chicken stock. So a lot of times I make my own, but boy, I go through it real fast. I'm going to let this come to a boil, and then what we're going to do is cover it and let it cook for about 30 minutes. You can tell when it's ready. And like I said, I'm not adding anything else. That stock here, this broth here, has quite a bit of salt for Campbell's, so it's a good one. Now what I'm going to do is, this is coming up pretty good. I'm going to add my seasoning. I put my seasonings right here so you can see them. I'm going to use a tablespoon of parsley, a tablespoon of onion powder, a half teaspoon of oregano, a half teaspoon of thyme, and a half teaspoon of celery salt. That's my only salt content. I want to use my lemon pepper, but I really don't need it in this dish. And I'm going to make this one just a little bit. It doesn't need it. And then the celery salt, it gives it this wonderful taste. So basically what I'm going to take is put the tablespoon, half teaspoon, and half teaspoon of these seasonings. And I'll have everything in the description box, but I just want to let you know how I do this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take and just mix these together a little bit. And I'm going to get it frying in with my meat. Just going to dump it here. And go like that. And now I'm going to wipe off my fork because I don't want to clump my rice. It to be clumped in. Okay. Okay, my rice is coming up to boil. So as soon as it comes up to boil, I've got it on medium high. I'm going to drop it to medium low. And we're going to cover it and just let it simmer away. Okay, it's ready to drop. So we're gonna go medium low, put the cover on, and now we're gonna give all this good meat. I probably won't use all the meat for this. Probably add a little bit to my dirty brown or my dirty rice, and do it that way, or I'll use it for something during the week. I'm always cooking, so I can always use this. Okay, so we have all our seasons in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this brown up, get it all nice and put together, and then I'm gonna go ahead and let the rice cook. I'm gonna check the bell peppers because we still have about 9 minutes. Get the counter cleaned up, and as soon as this is done, we'll come back and then we'll assemble together and then put it in the oven. Welcome back. Okay, hamburger's done. I went ahead and pre-portioned. Rice is done. I just wanted to let you know, 2 cups of rice makes like 4 cups. I have food for another dinner. My 4 cups of meat, because I have 2 cups here. So I've already taken 2 cups of rice, put it in my bowl to let it cool. I actually put it in my freezer so that it would cool down just a little bit, and so that when I mixed everything looked good. So there is 2 cups of rice. I'm gonna put 2 cups of meat. This is the rest of my 4 cups of meat. So we have it in case we need some more. And then, like I said, I'm gonna take my nice leftover tops of my bell peppers and use them for some kind of dinner this week. So let's get started here. I'm gonna put the 2 cups of meat in to the 2 cups of rice, and I like mine pretty even. I really am a meat and taters kind of girl, or a meat and rice kind of girl. So I like everything to be a little bit more even. Some people like a little bit more rice. But I think 2 and 2 is good, but it's your preference. And I'll tell you guys something too. Normally when I make stuffed bell peppers, I make stuffed bell peppers because I have extra rice, I have extra meat, trying to get my freezers all cleaned out and not waste anything. So that's why I normally make bell peppers. But boy, we were so blessed to get these bell peppers, and I've got a lot more growing on my vine. So we're gonna be eating bell peppers. This is something too I can make and cool and freeze in my bags in my freezer, because I have my food saver, and that's really awesome. These are also other vegetables that I picked out. I've got some really awesome jalapenos. I've got some tomatoes coming. I got lots of little cherry tomatoes. I found 2 more little strawberries out on my vine, so I'm super happy. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use everything that we have grown this year. Like I've got a lot of jalapenos, so I'm gonna have to make some salsas. I'm gonna have to make some sauces, tomatoes as well. That goes perfect with that. So that's what I'll be doing with that. Okay, so I've got everything mixed in really nice. This is how our meat, 2 cups of meat, 2 cups of rice. And like I said, usually I do it as leftovers, so everything's cold and I don't have to wait to cool it down. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my 1 spoon. That's not so big. I put a little bit of cheese, a little sprinkle of cheese each one when they were hot and came out of the oven, because that acts as my little barrier. I didn't even take my Hunt's tomato sauce out, and it's garlic forward because I like that flavor. You can use any one you want, any brand you want, and you don't have to. I use a lot of times the Winco one, because like I said, it depends on what you're making, and that's where you want to spend your time, effort, and money. And if you are seasoning forward like I am, I'm very much a seasoner, you don't, you know what I mean, everything comes together and it tastes good. Oh, I did try the rice in the hamburger. It's absolutely excellent. I took another bite right now. This is jasmine. If you guys don't use jasmine, I would suggest go buy a small bag of jasmine. This is really good rice. Boy, when I talk about smell vision, oh, you can smell this rice cooking. It's absolutely excellent. The hamburger has lots of seasoning. It's got the salt content. Everything's perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to just pick up my little bell pepper, just so I'm not so messy. And I'm just going to scoop it in. I'm going to wait for a second, add just a little bit of cheese, and add 1 more. I'm going to do a little bit of more bell pepper. I'm sorry, tomato sauce. I don't want them very tomato forward. We can always drizzle it over. Some of us are big tomato people, and some of us are not in my family. So it's your preference. That's why I only open one at a time, and I use straight out of the can. I'm not going to dirty any extra dishes. This is not to be foo-foo and beautiful. So we got a little bit of cheese in there, a little bit of tomato sauce, and we're going to fill him up pretty good, and then we're going to add just a little bit more tomato sauce so that when it bubbles inside, it'll be nice and hot and delicious. But like I said, I don't want it too tomato forward. I want to be able to taste everything. And if I need to, that's why I always make extra meat. If I need to, good Lord, don't be throwing things on the floor like I do. Good thing I don't mind cleaning up. But boy, this is an easy dinner. Like I said, you can freeze these. Okay, stuff it. Little bit of tomato sauce. Little bit of cheese. It's gonna be delicious. And like I said, not wasting anything. I love when I don't waste things. Sometimes I hate to waste things because, and you know, it happens to everybody. I don't care who you are. It happens very often, not very often though, thank God. But it still does happen because, you know, you guys get busy. We get busy. We have to work. We're helping somebody else out. Or we just forget. You know, or sometimes we decide, oh, we don't really want to eat that anymore. But, you know, at least you can freeze it and stuff. Okay. And if I had to, I can open another can of tomato sauce. But I prefer not to open it and put it in because to me, that's a waste. If I didn't need it, I'd be wasting it. Because tomato sauce is one of those things you can't just add it to everything. And then if I need more for our dinners, I can open another can, heat it up on the stove, and it'd be fantastic. Okay. And this is what we're going to do. And then we're going to go in and bake it for 20 minutes because, you know, we pre-baked it for 20 minutes. We set our timer. Look at, they're beautiful. You could take your fingernail and pretty much puncture the inside. So we don't want to cook them too much more because we don't want it to be mushy. I always say mushy. It's mushy. So we don't want it to be mushy. And I still have a little bit of tomato sauce in there. And I just stuffed these things really good so that we have a nice dinner. Do this with a salad. Oh my gosh, you know, this is a good dinner. This is good eats. Or you can serve them. I give them to my guys for lunch, you know, during the week. Or my mom, she loves these things. This is her go-to. Man, she used to not want to make them because she worked in the hospital. She was a nurse. So sometimes she wouldn't have time to make food like this, but she'd sure buy the Stouffer stuffed bell peppers. That's how we all learned how to start eating. Okay, so this looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And like I said, my bell peppers are not uniform because mine came out of my garden, but boy, I feel super blessed to have them. I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the oven for about 20 minutes or just until everything's melted because everything is cooked, and then we'll be back. Welcome back. Okay, bell peppers are done. They look beautiful. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to serve first. Ah, looks absolutely gorgeous. You can see the tomato sauce. Oops, let me move the camera back now that we saw these beautiful bell peppers that are going to nourish our bodies. Ah, that looks absolutely gorgeous. Nice and done. You can see the texture of the bell pepper in there. You see my fingernail? I can puncture the bell pepper. If you can puncture it, that's a good thing. Means it's not going to be too done when you get to the bottom part, which the bottom part is a thicker part. So that's good, but it's not going to be mushy. So you know what I'm going to do? Since I have enough of them, I am going to take a little bite. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to leave this one because the way it's slanted there, I like the way it looks. I just wanted to let you guys know too, for 2 cups of rice and 2 cups of meat, that's all I have left, which is good. So I'm going to take out this little one here. I'm going to take a bite of this little one. I'm going to cut it and see how it cuts. Oh, look at that. It cuts beautiful. And that's what you want. Let me turn this around. That looks fantastic. Let's take a little bite. I don't want to take too much though because it's going to be hot. So I got some cheese, got some of the good rice and meat, and bell pepper on the back side. Perfect. You have a little crunch when it gets down to here, like I told you. You have a little bit of crunch. And I'll tell you something. When you're cooking them, take the fingernail and just go down your bell pepper to your tenderness. That's what I do with my stir fry because I don't like my stir fry to be mushy. See how my fingernail splits that? That's what you want. If you want it done a little bit more, have it done a little bit more. I had mine on for 20 minutes. Put it on for another 30, 35 minutes. But if you like the content, if you would please like, share, and subscribe, I'd be most grateful. And also thank you for all the people who have subscribed, all the new ones, and thank you for so much for all the support. Appreciate you very much. Thank you.